Awesome. Thank you, Marshall. All right, folks, happy Wednesday. Today is June 4th, 2025. This is the CalPADS Q&A. My name is Alex Thandi, and I'm a data analyst at CISA supporting CalPADS. Driving for us today is going to be Mr. Paul Hagan. Moving on to announcements. We have end of year window open. I'm hoping that you all knew that already. It's been open for a few weeks. The initial deadline is July 25th. And SELPA approval is recommended for that initial deadline, but it's not required. The final deadline is August 8th, and we require SELPA approval for end of year 3 and end of year 4 for that one. So just keep those dates in mind. And speaking of dates, end of year milestones. On our user manual, we have our end of year roadmap. Paul is navigating there. So thank you, Paul. Within the roadmap, you can see milestones, recommended milestones. And what we recommend is that by July 11th, that is 7/11, that you have 0 errors. The reason for that is because it is 2 weeks before the initial deadline, and we want to make sure that you have ample time to send those reports off to review so that your admin can give you, if they have any feedback, you have enough time to go back and make adjustments. So it's important that you meet the deadline, but it's also data quality is also just as important. So recommended date for 0 errors, 7/11. And also a reminder that cohort is going to be pulled on August 15th. It's different from prior years. Usually we aligned end of year and cohort to be pulled on the same day. This year's different. And so just wanted to point that out. Any LEA out there that has high schools, August 15th is when we will be pulling cohort data. The other announcement that I have is that the 25-26 academic year regional meetings have been scheduled. You thought we were done with regional meetings, but no, they're just going to keep on coming. Next year they're already there. You can register for them. The first meeting is scheduled for September. And this email went out on Monday, June 2nd. So if you haven't seen that, you can go to our, I'm sure it's on the CDE website too, but it was an email that was sent out by the CalPADS listserv. I think that was it for me. I don't know who wants to go first, Angela? Or
I don't have
Sean?
anything today.
Oh, all right then. That was easy. Sean.
Yeah. So I think I have 2, and the first one is for Sunbucks. The School Fiscal Services Division is hosting another round of, they're calling it the June 5th webinar regarding Sunbucks implementation. So the necessary staff members that need to be there from your LAA, please make sure that you share this information with them, or if you are one of those staff members, please ask that the information be shared with you. That information went out on Thursday, May 29th. And then the next one is regarding the attendance survey. Matt's going to give me the real name of it because I can't see that. And Paul is highlighting the absence data collection inquiry is what it's called. Sorry. And so for that one, please ensure if you have not responded back to it that you do. The survey is not required. However, per the Senate bill that's there, 153, it is required for CalPADS to be able to send it out to you. And this falls within the scope of media in which CalPADS LEA admins are responsible for sharing out with their team members. Please note, if you need assistance in completing this survey, you may want to loop in your child welfare and attendance monitor to be able to provide the documents that you may need. So therefore, you're not struggling to find answers. So partner with them, work with them. So therefore, you can describe the question or so and what's actually needed. It should be a survey that takes about 5 minutes for you to complete once you have everything gathered. That's it for me.
Okay.
And, SPED is here. I don't know if Dom too.
He is. Dominic, do you have any announcements for today?
Sorry, I was fumbling with my mute button. No announcements for today, just thanks to everybody who showed up to the statewide virtual roadshow yesterday where there were no technical difficulties whatsoever.
Impeccable.
We should have that recording available soon.
Awesome. Okay, thank you. All right, with that, we are going to start off our questions with Natasha from Escondido Union. Question 1 says, for school closures where we have a J13A waiver that is not yet approved, how do we code attendance for the status file? Do we count them as days attended, excuse absent, or consider them not in session, reducing the expected days and omitting those days entirely? I'm going to go with the latter. You want to not count those in the expected days. I'm hearing no objection to that. So Natasha, yeah, if you can just remove those from your expected days, then
I'm gonna say yes, that's what the J13 is actually, that's what you're submitting the form for. However, it's still gonna be a local decision based upon what's approved for you all. So yes.
Thank you. All righty, moving on to Rigoberto. Question 1. Good afternoon, team. We had a student go through the suspension appeal process and who needs the suspension expunged from their student record. Is there any guidance on how this appeal overturned suspension should be reflected in CALPADS?
The suspension isn't gonna count, correct? Is that what I'm hearing? I don't know where my Q&A box went to. Oh, here it is. Oh, wait, where'd it go? What screen is it on? Yeah, so if it needs to be expunged from their record, then it's removed from their record.
So
That
removed
would
from
be
CALPADS?
Yeah, that would be what expunging it is. So yes. So go ahead and remove it from their record because your LEA is stating that that student isn't actually being suspended for that, whatever offense they committed or allegedly committed.
Okay.
And one note on that, it's great to remove it prior to certification because if you do certify the data with that in it, it will remain there forever in the certified data. You can remove it from the ODS and it'll go away from any ODS extracts, data reports, anything else. But if you leave it in there and certify the data, it will be in the certified data forever.
Not to throw a wrench in this, but so that the student already served their suspension? Because if it's in the stats file, then that might be a problem.
They have to go back and then update their stats file then as well because the student shouldn't have served those days or they should be credited for those days then. So that's why I was like, that process for CalPADS reporting and data reported to us. Like I said, that's going to be what's determined in that specific expungement. And typically that is something that's like board approved and everything. Like that goes to a high level. So within your LEA administration. And so you just need to have the details out of how you're capturing the data. But Alex is right, and so is Paul. You don't want it in your certified data because once it's there, it's there. And then also, again, all records should match so you don't get that warning. It is just a warning, but yeah. And how you all are crediting that student those days. Typically, if something like this happens, most of the time it's a legal process already. And so the attorneys are very diligent in saying that they want those students' hours credited back.
Okay. Alrighty. That was very thorough. So hopefully you got everything you needed there. Moving on to Noel, question 1. In our SIS system, what is the enrollment status code 50, non-ADA enrollment status? And what scenarios would this code be used for? And Judy is saying that they use the code for infant students. That's correct. Non-ADA is...
Cool.
I was going to say it's specific for students that are students with disabilities that are infant grade level, and also for private school students who, again, are students with disabilities. Sean, anything else?
No, you're good. Thank you.
And then Cami is saying the same thing, private school students, yeah. So, but those are the only two scenarios that validate that enrollment status is good for. Okay. Carla from Desert Sands, question 1. Can a special education student be reported with both a work-based learning program 60 transition work-based experience and 65 transition classroom-based work exploration? Judy says yes. I don't know.
That is correct if the criteria for the two different work-based learning type codes have been satisfied. So code 60 requires a minimum of 100 hours of work-based learning experience, and code 65 requires the equivalent of 4 semesters of college and career exploration courses. And so in order to be reported with both the code 60 and a 65, they'll need to complete the 100 hours of work-based learning experience and have the equivalent of 4 semesters of those college and career exploratory courses.
Thank you,
So
Matt.
it would be 2 work-based learning records that you submit in that case.
Ava, question 1. Is the June direct cert file ready for us to download?
No, the June direct cert file is not ready for us to download. It updates in the home ribbon tab of CALPADS there. And so it still currently says the May extract is there. CDE is waiting on the file. So we're actively trying to get it. We don't have it though.
Okay, thank you. Amber from La Mesa, question 1. We have preschool student that is attending in a neighboring district but is going through SPED testing with us. As a result, we have a CCE. Do I exit my student now that I have the SSID until we have test results, or does one of us become a secondary? Can we submit SPED files if they are secondary enrollment?
You would not be able to submit SPED files with a secondary enrollment. And typically the student should be enrolled where they're receiving the majority of their education. And so with enrollment comes the reporting. So this sounds like it's going to be a little bit more complicated than what we can discuss here. So Amber, if you can submit a ticket on this one with the SSID of the student in question, we can give you the complete guidance.
Thank you, Dominic. Moving on to Terry from Irvine. Question 1. We have a student with a legal and preferred name in CALPADS. The test results came back with the preferred name. Should it have come back with the legal name? I think we made
I believe this came
expected
up a few
behavior.
weeks ago. Yeah, this is the expected behavior. It came up a few weeks ago, and CDE did confirm and ETS confirmed preferred name when it's provided is the one that's
Yeah, because that's how the student wants to be identified as. On your official records, though, that's when the legal name within your cumulative folder, though, is both depending on your LEA, it should be both that are reflected. At minimum, the legal name.
moving on to Susan. Question 1. What is the earliest at 2526 alternate income form can be collected and reported for the 2526 LCFF deadline?
I believe I tracked down the answer to this, and I'll put the link to the CDE guidance in chat here. In that website, there is a table that's titled Key Dates, and it shows July 1st as the starting point to enter your current year students' FRPM eligibility records into CALPADS, and October 31st is the deadline for the NSLP applications. So July 1st to October 31st.
And that's just on the Sunbucks Resources FAQ, right, Matt?
I got it on the alternative income forms page of the CDE site under finance and grants, but I put it in the chat there if you want to.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I got to scroll down. My bad.
I'm going to move on to Colleen from Cottonwood. Question 1. Can a student return for transitional services after receiving a certificate of completion? If so, would they be exited with E230-120 in the certificate of completion year and then exited with E125 prior completion special ed in future years? Thanks. And Judy says yes and yes. And
I take umbrage with the second yes. In each year of transition, they should be a primary grade 12 student exited as E156 if they're expected to return the following year to continue their services. At the end of their services, when they're separating from you completely and they are no longer going to participate in any transitional services, that is when you use the E125.
and this is an FAQ, so you can find that there. Awesome. Thank you. Moving on to Heather from Shasta COE. Question 1. Any idea of when the 25-26 submission dates and deadlines will be released?
No, I'm working on them.
Okay.
But no, Census Day will be October 1st, I think, this year.
Yeah.
Yeah, that much I got for you. Other than that, no. Will they still be within the same accordance? Yes. Are we still moving? This is the final year for moving the dashboard up. I think the 2 weeks, and then we're done. So yeah, after that we're good. No, other than that, but will they still be in pretty much alignment with everything else? Yes. But do I have dates just yet? No. I 1 week at a time. I just got out the regional dates.
Moving on to Jamie from Granite Mountain. Question 1. I am currently getting a CRSC 0688E1 warning error, which I was not getting previously. I don't understand why I'm getting it since my CRSC file is being posted successfully. Do we know if this is a bug? Oh, and then there's a correction. It's CRSC 0686.
Did they submit their SCSC? Because it's looking for the student roster.
They did. And
They
Jamie,
did?
I,
Okay.
I actually looked yours up, so thank you for putting your school name in there. Make sure you have course completion for both terms. So the one I looked up, if you are on the data discrepancy screen and click the view button at the very bottom on the bottom right, it'll tell you what section ID is having the issue. And the one I looked up didn't have any students enrolled in the second semester for that course. And so
But
Paul, we can help her troubleshoot that, or just teach people how to troubleshoot this one. If you go to online maintenance course data, and then once you have the course section ID, you can put it in that box there and click apply filters. And it'll give you the list of the parent course records that were posted successfully. And the warning is squawking about, well, you gave me this course record, but there's no students enrolled to it. And once you see the courses listed there, there's a button to say students enrolled. And when you click that, you'll see that there's nobody enrolled in those classes.
And so at the local level, what that translates to is if your courses haven't actually ended yet or school hasn't actually ended yet, then your teachers may have not finished posting their grades. And if school has ended, then your teachers still may not have finished posting their grades. So what date is that due by for you to be able to close out those records and internally, so you know when you should be able to expect that file?
And then Chris mentioned to make sure the course attributes match between the course section completion and the student course section completion.
Absolutely correct.
Yeah, her data is actually pretty clean. In fact, she's just down to 2 fatal errors, so good job.
Wow.
And just says warnings for all those courses because the students aren't there.
All right, moving on to Connie, Salina City. Question 1. Our business department is under the impression that Sunbucks doesn't need to begin till 25-26 school year. Is there a compliance component that required LEAs to begin this process now, the 24-25 school year?
I'm gonna go with that. That's changing so much that I'm not the best person to answer that question. For what I understood, no, there's not a compliance for it to begin this year. However, again, I feel like stuff is changing day by day.
Connie, there is a Sunbucks webinar tomorrow. And you can register on the CDE website. It's being held with the nutrition department at CDE. So hopefully they can answer any of the compliance questions that you would have.
Perfect.
And if not, here is the email. I just slid it into the chat for Sunbucks.
Great. Okay. Oh, and Connie says that she did register. Awesome. All right. And move on to Sarah from Arcadia Unified. Question 1 says, for the current TK students that have a TBD in CALPADS with a date from this school year, will they be able to summer test if we add the 25-26 enrollment record before the school year begins? I believe so. I don't know if Sarah or Thor are here, but I believe that the TBD date can be in the prior school year and it'll still be picked up.
Yes, it will be. It'll,
Okay.
yes, that's absolutely why it's there. And so once they trigger for kindergarten then, but you have to put in their kindergarten record then, if you're gonna do it for summer. And you can only put those records in between July 1 and something else like that.
The
Summer
TBD
testing
record,
dates.
right? Yeah.
Yeah, there's an FAQ.
July 1 and through August 31st are the dates you can use, but I don't think you can do that until July, right?
Yeah. So I was like, I know it doesn't start until July 1. I just couldn't remember when else it ended. Is that in that rollover flash I just wrote? I was like, why does it sound so familiar?
Yeah. I think in Sarah's case, the TBD is already there. It's just that the enrollment from 25-26 school year is the one that needs to be added.
But the requirement to TK or to LPAC test students within the first 30 days of enrollment doesn't apply to the TK students. So I guess the question she may be asking is, does that 30 days trigger as soon as you submit that enrollment record to CalPADS with a kindergarten grade level?
It's not
No,
when you
because
post it.
Yeah. It's when the 30 days, to Matt's point, the 30 days isn't triggering for your TK students. It would trigger from your kindergarten enrollment date then. But your kindergarten enrollment start date isn't going to be until that first day of school.
So the 30 days does not start over the summer, even though you can put that enrollment record in over the summer.
That's correct. Yes.
All right. I think I learned something today, Sean.
Oh, cool. And I'm glad I can answer that question without Thor and Sarah being here.
Last question from Jennifer from Berkeley. Question 1. If a student changes their legal name, do we need to update all SIMF records, including past years? I'm going to say no. Oh, you do? Okay.
Yeah, Brandy showed us years ago how to correct that because all of it should be corrected because that's their legal name then. And yes, you should. And I thought it was like if you put in the 1, then it redid it for all, or you put in the back date. It's years old.
You add the original name as an alias name, and then
Yes.
the legal name would be the new name field. And if it's a different gender, you'll have to do a 2-level change because you'll have to manually change the gender after you post the record.
Is there a video on that one, Kyron, or a training doc Oh, no, and I thought
Uh,
there was, like, long time ago that you and Nate created.
Probably we'll have to look into that and highlight it, push it up.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
Mhm.
We have some follow-ups. Jan is asking alias or preferred name for the old one.
The alias. The preferred name is that internal name that kids want to be called in.
Soraya is asking, I thought it was only effective as of the date of the legal name change. And then Rebecca's saying, wouldn't you only update back to when the legal name change occurred?
No, you update the cumulative folder and everything. That is that student's legal name.
Oh, she meant
Jenna,
the past years.
right, past
I
years.
missed that. Yeah, actually, when the name changes occurred. Sorry about that. But if you do change it, it should be the preferred name, the alias name.
So Jennifer asked a great question, is what if there are SIMFs from other LEAs? You'd have to contact the other LEAs to make that change?
The rule that we
So why
own it
would we
now, they
do
don't have
that? Because
to.
yeah, and it's basically CalPADS. It's longitudinal, so you have a history of that person's name change, right?
Mm-hmm.
So whenever the name change, that's when you update it. That way you also have a history of the student's longitudinal demographic change. At least that's what the system was meant to
Mhm.
run anyway.
Yeah, I thought the same thing, but maybe we need to take this one back and
Mhm.
discuss internally. And then, folks, if you want to come back next week and ask the same question, we can update you all. Because I think we're coming up with different answers on this one. All right. Next up, Jan. Question 1. For the new program code 194 expanded learning programs, they are eligibility programs, correct? We are to report any student eligible to participate, but when extracting the new LEAP extract, we changed the days field to greater than 0 for those who actually participated. I'm asking because the CALPADS code set definition for 194 has this sentence. An enrolled student means any student whose parents or guardians have signed an expanded learning opportunity program registration form. If that form is on file, that student shall be considered enrolled in the expanded learning program. This education program is treated participating, not just eligible.
Oh, this is when I wish Rima was here. Is Meredith here? They just don't love us today, huh? Okay, so Jan, we can take this one to the vendor call. I think that's tomorrow. I won't be there, and then we can explain it. We can explain things that we're considering that go as far as programs that I don't want to have in this. I don't want to have that discussion in this forum. Sorry.
Okay. She'll talk about it tomorrow. Yeah, it says she'll add it as a walk-on item.
Thank you so
Yeah.
kindly. I appreciate it.
All right. Rebecca from Lancaster, question 1. That doesn't, oh, disregard. All right. Wrong thread. Disregard. Cool. We are, oh, nope, Derek. Derek from Cajon Valley, question 1. CalPADS needs a viable solution to deal with SSIDs merged in error. Asking LEAs to manually recreate 10 years of CalPADS records is not reasonable. Even if LEAs had time to do this, there would undoubtedly be data entry errors. Ultimately, this results in inaccurate and missing data. An automated solution or some type of state-level assistance intervention would benefit CalPADS users and protect data integrity. Thank you for your consideration. I agree. I wish there was an undo button for sure on that one.
We
I
all
don't
do.
know.
We have brought it to the change team more than once. But I think their argument is always, well, it shouldn't be happening very often, right? It's pretty rare. And so just be careful is what their advice was.
It is 3:35 and we have no more questions. Oh, I lied. Terry, question 2. STAS 0707E3. Are the days calculating correctly? Not sure if others are having the same issue. Is this the one with the March
Duration
15th?
days, yeah.
This is a gotcha validation, Terry. Whenever the exit date is blank, when you haven't exited your kid, CalPADS is going to use May 15th as a default. And so the calculations throw it off. So just I think put a pin on this validation, knowing that you haven't exited your kiddos. Once you exit them, then you can come back and see which ones remain.
Yeah, and what you'll find, Terry, it's all the kids that enrolled in late spring.
Mhm. All right. Lou from LuciaMar. I arrived late. Can you recap the announcements, please? And thank you. Announcements were just the end of your submission windows open. Initial deadline is July 25th. Final deadline is August 8th. SELPA approval is required for end of year 3 and 4 for the final deadline. Reminder that the suggested milestones for 0 errors is set for July 11th. And cohort pool is August 15th. And the academic year 25-26 regional meetings, they're posted now. So you can register for those regional meetings now. The attendance survey link, I also forget the name, Sean.
Okay, I'm with you in the same boat. If Paul has it back up.
I accidentally closed it already. Sorry.
Oh, no worries. So we understand. There's an attendance survey. It's got an official name to it that we don't really know. If you can please complete it, if your LEA has not already completed it, if you aren't sure where to find the documents being requested, your child welfare and attendance monitor at your LEA may be the best one to reach out to be able to help you locate those documents. You can simply copy and paste the question and explain it to them and say, hey, can you provide me this document? That way you can just attach it and keep on going. It should take about 5 minutes to update once you have everything, or complete the survey once you have everything. So we kindly ask that you do.
I found it. It's called the Absence Data Collection Inquiry.
That part. And then, did you do the Sunbucks one, Alex?
No, I did not. That one's
Okay.
next.
Is that what it's called too? I just know it's a
Sunbucks webinar?
Yeah. Is that what's on the screen? I can't see. Okay. If so, yeah. So there's the Sunbucks webinar there that we are asking LEAs, if you need to attend, please make sure that you are registered to attend. It's hosted by, I think I said our fiscal services earlier, my bad. It's hosted by our nutrition services department. If you have received this information but don't need to be there, but there's someone else in your org, sharing is caring, please share with them. Or if you need to be there and it hasn't been shared with you, it's already been sent out. So please ask them for it. Because again, sharing is caring.
That was it, Lou? Yeah. Moving on to question 2 from Jamie. At 3:36 p.m. Question 2 says, I am receiving an SCNR 635E3 error for a student. I checked their demographic record and compared it to the information we have in the SIS, and they match. Would there be a reason why I would get this error? Is that one of the...
Known issue
Defect.
7177.
So if you have all the fields populated correctly for that parent guardian 2, you have first, last name, and the ed level correct. And keep in mind that it's the demographic record, the most recent one that overlaps your enrollment. If that's populated correctly, then you can ignore it because it's a known issue. And we can link you to the known issue if you request it. Moving on. Karen, are you answering Angelina, or should we?
I was just about to say they are missing their stats, but you could show them. I'll post it after you've answered.
All right. All right. So Angelina's question 1 says, would the SDNR 718E3 also be triggered because I have not closed the SDNR records? SDNR 718E3. All right. Okay, so missing absence summary data for student. No, this one would trigger even if you had an exit. And keep in mind, this is specific by school, right? So if the student went from school A to school B and you only posted stats for school A, it may be that you're missing the stats for school B. So they've been posting the stats. So maybe a ticket if you have the SSID.
And STAS is one of the replacement processing file types, correct?
Mm-hmm,
So
yes.
if you're not sending up complete STAS files, you're overwriting existing data. So you may be working against yourself there.
Mika, will the webinar be recorded? Sunbooks webinar? I don't know if we know that.
I don't, unless it was in the invite. I know I don't know offhand.
Great. We are done with questions. Cue Marshall's playlist.
I did look up the parent ed level defect, and that is in Tuesday's release. So relief is in sight for that one.
It does not say if it is or if the webinar, the Sunbucks webinar, if it is or if it's not being recorded. So feel free to email. I put it in there earlier. Summer EBT at cde.gov. I'll put it back in there though.
All right, Angelina, question. So I will have to check if they are summer grads. The last 4 records I checked are students that are T160 from site to site. Okay, yeah, so it's the school A to school B situation, maybe.
I have to apologize to Sin. I'm so sorry. I am. As I laugh, I really am sorry though. He put in the chat that he started asking their directors about who their CWA person was. But he was like, apparently we don't have a designated person. So now they made him a part of the attendance task force. So if it helps you, it really doesn't though. But I think that's how I initially got looped in there too.
Congratulations.
No.
If we have no more questions, 15 minutes back. Yeah,
It's like
I know.
about as good as time as any.
Yep.
Sounds
Good
great.
to me.
All right,
Thanks,
folks.
everybody.
Thank you very much
Right.
for all your help. We'll see you next week. Same link.
Same time.
Have a good one. Thank you.
Good job. Good job, guys. I got it from here.